What's up? It's Coach AK.
And Chad,
So today we're going to be talking about the movie The Secret. If you've heard about it, it's been a big craze with entrepreneurs, with actors, with athletes, and it's really about really maximizing your life.
for sure. And it stems from a couple of works that were done years and years ago that discussed the law of attraction. And just like a magnet, what you send out is going to come back to you. And you send good energy out, good vibes out, that's what's going to come back to you. And if you are focused in on good things in your life, and that's your main focus, if you know challenging things happen in life and you're able to come back on path to the good stuff, then you're going to send out those good vibes. You're going to be attracting good things to you. So that's kind of the bottom line of it. What you send out comes back to you.
Right, and I think there's been some controversial topics or some scenes in the movie, and one of them was the bike scene, right?
Absolutely. And one of the pieces of that particular scene that is a little bit controversial is the mere fact that people can envision having something, a certain lifestyle, an actual object, but they have to understand that they need to work hard to get that.
Right.
So you can focus on it, but you got to work and take action to get that.
Yeah,
I
and
think that was one of the things that may have been missing.
right, and if you haven't seen that particular scene or even seen the movie, it was this little boy that really, really wanted a bike, and I believe he couldn't afford it, or his parents said he couldn't have it. And what the kid did is that he wished and he wished and he wished for this bike. And after some time, he walks outside and the bike is just there after just wishing. And I feel that point is, yes, having the positive spirit, having the positive energy out in the atmosphere. But I don't want people to think that if you just wish and wish and wish that you're going to win the lottery. If that happens, then there'd be thousands of people winning the lottery every single drawing.
Exactly. And the how, it can get a little bit complex in that the how is not necessarily our responsibility.
Right.
So if we have a goal that we're after and we're visualizing that goal, it's not necessarily our responsibility to put the how down on paper. The how is going to be attracted to us in that certain situations are going to arise where they're like little nudges to say, all right, take action on this. Certain people will come into your life and, it's going to be a serendipitous type of thing where, that person, something that happened, AK, when we met at the networking event. I had handed you my card and
Oh yeah.
the day that you called me, I was planning on calling you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this synergy that occurs. And it's things like that happen when you're sending that energy out. You're not worrying about what the how is. You're not getting overwhelmed about, okay, what do I need to do now? What do I need to do next? It just kind of unfolds. And that's what makes it kind of easy. And I hate to use that word because you're still taking legitimate action, but it gets easy because these things just start to unfold. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think also to touch on that, there were steps even before the mastermind meeting, right? The reason why I decided to go to the mastermind meeting was to connect with other type-like minds, right? Was to improve my life, make connections, because the location that I was at, it wasn't very entrepreneurial, meaning that it wasn't a positive environment. And so when I bring up an idea with people that weren't entrepreneurs or maybe complacent in some of the things that we're doing, it would actually make me demotivated. So the reason I joined the mastermind was for that reason. So when I got there, I've already made the action that I wanted to improve myself, my surroundings. So when I went to that mastermind meeting, the first person I met was you. Right? Very first person I met was you. And not only that, what also attached to that was your card And there was a simple word on the card that was ARP trainer. And that bring me back to my background as an ARP specialist. And I rarely knew any ARP people. I don't, that are ARP specialists. Chad is a PT, and he does some ARP training type work. And we immediately connected, and that's how we're at this point right now.
Yeah. And you hit on a really awesome note with regard to the mastermind and the law of attraction. And what's cool is if you just if you visualize and then let it go and understand that how is going to approach it, you're going to find people that you mastermind with, man, and it's a natural process. Like, it wasn't something that was preempted, or it wasn't something that took any real effort. And I think the conversations that we've had, AK, they're not conversations that take any effort. We just kind of keep going and going and going. And it's like Napoleon Hill was talking about. You have that mastermind. A couple people are talking, or a group of people is talking, and they're kind of feeding off of that additional brain in the room that everyone has formed collectively.
Right.
And the conversation just flows. And that's the law of attraction, and that those thoughts are sent out. And then all of a sudden, someone else grasps that thought, grasps that energy, and then it snowballs into this awesomeness, and everyone feels good about the conversation. And I can feel for it because I've been in that situation. I've had colleagues who've been in that situation where they're talking with people, and they're just not. They're playing tennis with someone, but the other person's just, they got their racket on the ground. They haven't picked their racket up yet, and they want to play, but there's nothing on the other end. So it's nice when you have that synergy, and when that law of attraction is in play, everything is synergizing.
Right, and I'll give an example that just happened yesterday. There was this a friend of mine. No, actually not a friend. It was this guy that I met. That it was him and his wife. We went on this beach date as a family, and it was a good connection. And I had to leave, and I didn't have his phone number. I didn't have his contact information. But our kids go to the same daycare. So yesterday, I said, you know what? I need to meet up with this guy. I need to meet up with him. So I brought my business card. I drove up to the daycare, and we were the only two dads left. Right? Awesome. So, but the thing is, it was one of those things where in my mind, I believed that he was going to be there. I would have actually been more surprised if he wasn't there than being there. Right? And I've never ever seen him at the daycare before. I've only seen him at the beach. But my first action was I put a business card in my pocket, believing that he was going to be there. And when I saw him, I wasn't surprised. I'm like, yes, this is what was supposed to happen. But I put the work in and I believed.
That's cool. You said that out and it came right back to you, man. And, I can attest to that. And that I'll communicate with someone really quick, and then I'll just hope that and visualize meeting with that person again. And same type of thing where it just kind of happens. In the past, before I kind of learned about the law of attraction and the fact that we don't need to actively put a lot of energy into this, I would plan on when I was going to see that person. I kind of strategize on when I was going to meet that person again. I can't tell you how many times it's been, gee, that person was really cool. Yeah, I just liked the energy I was getting back from them. We had a great conversation. It'd be cool to meet that. Kind of like what happened. I'm going to revert back to what happened when we met. It'd be great to meet that person. And then it just kind of unfolds.
Right.
It sounds like what happened there.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, we're talking about this positive energy, and and how you put the positive energy and the vibes out there. And I'm not going to say whether it's the universe or whatever, but something is happening, whether we can control it or not. But the same thing works on the reverse. And I think you were talking about a stubbing your toe situation.
Yeah, and that was another scene in the movie where a person gets out of bed and they stub their toe. And I'm sure this has happened with people. I know, I've knocked things over in my house and makes a noise for wake everyone up. So you wake up and something happens right off the bat that you're not too pleased about. And you can let that get you down. You can let that irritate you. You can let that trigger negative vibrations in your body. And if you do that, most likely, and it's happened with me, I don't know if it's happened with you and our listeners, but it can snowball. It can just have a domino effect throughout your day, because if you start that way, it's like you're planting a seed for your day. You stub your toe, you get irritated about it, and then, as you were mentioning before, you're driving down the street and someone cuts you off and you get irritated with them, not because of what they did, because it wasn't that big of a deal, but because you stubbed your toe in the morning, right? Whereas the thought of stubbing your toe when you get out of bed, stuff like that happens. You stub your toe, and then you go and you move, or you have some type of morning habitual thing that you do that gets you into that awesome vibration, because I'm a firm believer that, from experience, that if you start your day with a good vibration and you do something right out of bed that gets you going, then your day's going to unfold in a more positive fashion. And you stub your toe, you don't even think about it. It's in your rear view mirror before you know it. Windshield, you're looking at the windshield at your day, and you're doing something that's getting you fired up for the day. So that was one scene that they really honed in on, in that you stub your toe, and if you get irritated, you're going to track that throughout your day. Whereas if you stub your toe and you're like, dude, whatever, this is not a big deal. I'm not bleeding, I don't need to go to the hospital. You go ahead with your day and have fun. It's much different energy.
And to touch on that, sometimes we don't always stub our toe physically, but we can stub our toe mentally. And I usually feel like most of us, how we start our day is we may start it off with social media, watching the news, reading the newspaper. And if you open up the front page of Yahoo or or watch the news, like Chad was saying, how you start your day, those vibrations are going to last with you throughout the day. And I'm sorry, the last time I watched the news, it wasn't the positive hour. Okay? And so if you're starting off the day watching the news, first and foremost, you're going to believe that the whole world is some scary place, that everybody hates everybody. If you leave the United States, you're going to get killed by a terrorist. And you don't realize that you're starting off your day anxious with anxiety, and it's just snowballing effect throughout the whole day. And when you start your day in that negative way, what you're bringing into you is negativity. So you notice the negative more than you notice the positive. But if you start your day with positive, you're starting to see the world and everybody around you as this good, this great place, rather than starting off the day with something negative. And all you're trying to do is like, oh, see what that person did, see what that person did, or this situation, and it just continues to snowball.
And you have it's amazing when you feel good, how it becomes important to you to help other people feel good.
Right.
And if you feel good and someone else is like maybe you have a colleague who is just, in the mornings they just have a tough time getting going, and they're just stinking thinker in the morning, and you always, if you're feeling good, you're just gonna kind of nudge them, give them little mental nudges and throw out positives here and there. But it takes you being in that state to assist others, to help them get to that point. One of the things that I was chuckling at was that I was watching, as the weather was coming into the northeast this afternoon. I mean, back when we were younger, dude, weather would happen. It just happened to be that thunderstorm, or that hurricanes, and we may know a couple of hours before it happened. Now, it's like you go to the Weather Channel, and I'm glad that we have this technology, don't get me wrong, and I think that it's a good thing. But you go on there, and like you said, you go on some of these websites and these TV shows, and the world, you think that the world is an unbelievably scary place to live, and there's so much good out there, man. And I think we alluded. I was thinking about this, and I started a little blog, and I'm like, on the blog, I'm like, just positive stuff, uplifting things. Is there a news channel that you can go to that focuses on positive? This is the before bedtime news station because it's all positive. No, no, we don't have that, man. It's the 11 o'clock news is it's not good stuff, and I agree 100% with what you're saying in that you fill yourself with positive thoughts, with good stuff, with gratitude, with things that make you feel good, and that's going to be sent out. And when that's sent out, like we're terming this call, it's the law of attraction. It's just it's going to come back to you. And it's going to be that I keep using this word, but that synergy.
Yeah, and I tell you this: once you do that, it's going to continue to be a snowball effect because you'll realize the difference when you do it and when you don't do it. See, for a while, I would listen to motivational videos, read motivational, inspirational stories every single morning. And I got to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm happy. I don't need to do this anymore because I got it. I got everything. I'm straight. And I stopped for like a month. My mood, my personality changed. I started seeing the world in this negative place. And we know what it also causing me to do? Stop taking action. Because when you have this fear mindset, this fear mentality, it's going to cause you to not take risks to improve your life. No, I'm not going to travel over there because, I may get attacked by a terrorist, but you're missing the opportunity to connect with the world outside. Or I want to pursue this business idea. But if you look at the economy sucks, and I don't know if I should do that. But that's what bringing negativity does to you. It causes you not to take risks. It teaches you I can't do anything because I'm imagining the worst case scenario.
And I agree with you 100% there in that we have, I seem to be agreeing with you a lot.
That's good. I'm an easy guy to agree with.
See eye to eye on this stuff. When you're in the groove of doing something habitually, first thing in the morning, and anytime you hit a dip throughout the day, whether it's a YouTube clip that you listen to, I got this one that one of my mentors offered to me last week. I've been doing it every single day since last Monday or Tuesday, and dude, it's 30 minutes, and I'm a completely different person when I'm done listening to it. Mm-hmm. If you get in a groove and you're doing these things, you're going to feel so good that when you get to that point where you're like, nah, I don't need it anymore, you're going to be so sensitive, like you said, that your life is just going to feel a whole bunch different.
Right.
And those little things that didn't bother you when you were in your groove and really putting these habits in play, all of a sudden these little things become huge issues all over again. Maybe not huge issues, but you get my point in that you don't handle things like you did when you were in your groove. So I'm a big proponent of having something, whatever resonates with you,
Right.
AKA you, myself, we may have something that we coach people on, but it may not resonate with them. So it's what resonates with you is what's going to put you on that path towards you feeling good so that then you can send that out to others.
Yeah. And it can be music or whatever. And you're talking about putting it out to other those vibes. Something about the law of attraction that I think is really important is focus, is having a direction. We can't put our vibes in so many different directions because it's not going to know which one to hold on to. So what we need to do is when we we need to take action. I think we've already talked about the importance of taking action. And hopefully it's for action towards something positive. I don't think the law of attraction is going to work and say, you know what? I want to become a mass murderer. Bring me people into my life that I can just kill and maim. That's my personal, maybe that's the universe wants that. But for me, I believe it's for something positive or something that fits your life's purpose, the reason that you're on this planet. And things just align. Because the word aligns, your mind aligns, your actions align, so it just becomes effortless. So, and I think Chad's going to talk about this as well, even probably in more detail, is about having that single-minded focus, that one goal, because that will help us allow the universe or whatever it is to get us there faster.
Absolutely. And, working with patients for, 14 plus years now, if I'm working with a patient and I'm sitting down with them or brainstorming, what do you want to do? If we sit down and we come up with 3, 4, 5 goals, a lot of times it's a little overwhelming for them. And because I want them on board with what we're doing. So I think my bottom line with it is that I'm kind of shifted gears, taking courses that talk about setting goals, listening to podcasts that talk about setting goals. There's different types of acronyms out there for setting your goals. But then I listened to a story about Albert Einstein. And when he had a project that he was working on, that was it. He would have one goal in mind that he was driving after. And any time, if he did stub his toe, he would go right back to that goal. He'd write that goal down at the beginning of the day, lunchtime, night before he goes to bed, and that was the one goal that he was driving after, that he was focusing on. And I think it said that 3% of our population actually has goals that they write down. Mm-hmm. And of those 3%, 100% of them are achieving their goals because it's constantly in their focus. If they do get negative, or they're surrounded by people who are negative, or something happens that's a big-time challenge for them, they just go right back on path towards focusing on their goal. And then we talked earlier in the call about they focus on their goal, and then the how kind of comes into play. Those types of experiences are attracted to them. Those types of people who they need to meet are attracted to them. And it unfolds. So having that one goal, and the reason I see now multiple goals is because, it's sometimes challenging to have all of those different moving parts as opposed to just zoning in. Once you've achieved that goal, shift to the next one. And make it a big goal, man. And I don't feel that being real rational about it is all that important. Go for the stars, man. Make it a huge goal. As big as you want it to be. And let your mind go bonkers with it. I feel about 7 years old, we stopped dreaming. And we're taught to basically sit in a desk chair and then sit in a cubicle later in life and just that's kind of what it is. What life is. I would say, dream again. And, take the lid off your dream jar and have some fun. And once you're dreaming and your creative minds or your creative juices are churning, put that goal on paper.
Yeah, and when you talk about the dreams, we are starting to consider dreams what other people are already doing. Say, I want to learn how to, play the piano. I want to be able to get this job, this dream job. And the dream job may just be something that thousands of people are already doing, and we believe that it's not attainable. And with most of us, I believe that if we just commit, it will come into fruition. The reason why is because you'll surround yourself around other people, put yourself into situations that make that possible. When Chad was talking about the one goal, here's an example that I was going to use. Is if you do not have an end goal in mind, right? If I just say I'm going to get in my car and I'm just going to drive, it's either that you're never going to get there. You're obviously never going to get there because you don't have a final destination, but you're never going to know when you're off track. The goals help you keep yourself aligned. You can say this is not even in law of attraction. This is just in simple life. By writing it down, for one, you're staying committed to it. I'm not gonna, maybe not you, but me, I have ADD sometimes. I do. And when you have that goal written down on a piece of paper, that stays there. Rather than every day you can go one way or go another way, but it keeps you accountable. If you can't say it out loud, if you can't write it on a piece of paper, how committed to you are it? How committed? If you can't even write it down, but you feel like you're going to put the work in every single day. So, I think that's the first thing we can talk about is moving on from this conversation that me and you were having is one task, a homework assignment that you can have?
I would say, just a real quickie on the topic of ADD. When they took the um, brain waves and they tested the brain activity of entrepreneurs, it's all over the map. So there's little, there's a lot of thoughts going on in the head of an entrepreneur, and that's what we've talked in the past. You have one project and you get going on that project, and then another one pops up.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Some of them are going to work, some of them may not. You just keep going and you keep having fun with it. So that's just the topic of ADD. What I think we're talking about suggesting for the next call as a piece of homework is to just sit in a room. If you don't meditate already, I think meditation is huge. So sit in a room for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however long you're able to, and just meditate. Let your body relax, let your brain relax. Just kind of focus on your breathing. And then when you come out of that meditation, just let your mind drift to allowing yourself to think really, really big about where you would want your life to be. Say money is not an issue, time isn't an issue. Just think way outside the box and then devise a goal from that. It can be a few words, it can be a couple of sentences, but write that goal down. And you don't need to share it with people, but sharing it with people may trigger you to hold yourself a little bit accountable.
Right.
But write that down, and for the next call, we'll be getting into some actions that you can take towards that goal. I mean, heck, a few people will have already achieved that one goal by the next call, which would be awesome, and then we can just build on that and move forward. So does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, I mean, we'll do it the same as well. I mean, talk about our goals, we'll be transparent, and I think it will really be a good thing snowballing when you hear about a whole bunch of people reaching their goal. And hopefully, let's see about who can bring out the biggest goal, right? Who has the biggest goal that they want to try to achieve, and cheer everybody else on.
Absolutely. Dude, and cheer everyone else on is what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a key phrase right there. That brings it all together. Because when you're cheering someone else on and you're empowering them and encouraging them and making them feel good and kind of putting yourself in the background, dude, that's life right there. That's law of attraction. That's law of vibration. That's, the law of non-resistance. That's all of these laws put together when you're cheering someone else on. So that's really a great closing statement.
Right. And that's going to be it. So in this episode, we talked about taking action, bringing positivity within your life, and having that single-minded goal. And for the next one, Chad will talk about it.
We'll do a sequence of actions that you can take towards that goal. And we'll get as specific as we can, but again, it's important to remember that the how is not necessarily our responsibility. And that's what we're going to elaborate on the next call here. So,
well, thank you, Chad, for joining the call, for us talking together. And
I can't tell you how much I appreciate this, man. It's an honor.
All right, man. Until next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.